Low converting emails. Emails are so important because they are one of the most valuable resources we have for documentation and for communication. So, when you send out an email to your community, or you send out an email to your list, you're sending out an email that is electronic. Electronic mail. Welcome, Yusra and Carrie. Thanks for being here. And Gary, too. I see you, too. Thanks for being here. And Ake, Duke, and everyone else that's coming into the room today. As you're listening, for those who are hearing me for the first time or connecting with me or bumping into this, my name is Favour Obasi-ike, and I help business owners, entrepreneurs, and creators understand and establish their intellectual property by using search engine marketing through optimization within podcasts, Pinterest, and websites. Today, I thought about bringing email marketing again because I don't always talk about it, but when I do, I like to keep it very exclusive because email marketing is one of the most effective ways of communicating, because when you send electronic mail to a list of people that have access to your information that you give them, whether it is text or audio or video or image, these could come in the form of links. And these links are going to help you as a business owner to retain information and also build credibility. If I send you an email today and you open that email a month from now, the impact is still large. The impact is still high. It's still a converting email because I haven't opened it until now. I haven't clicked it until now. Compared to a social media post that you see now that you may not see a month from now, because the conversion rate on average for social media is below 1%. Most times people say it's between 0.07% to 0.7%, but it's still low compared to SEO, which is 16%, 33%. It can go way above that depending on where your interest is and where your zone of genius, zone of marketing, zone of influence, zone of building capacity is. So when you think about high converting emails versus low converting emails, the major thing that you're looking at considering here is the technical setup. Welcome, Ajay. It's the technical setup, because when you create a technical setup of a business within a company, what you're doing is creating value over time to allow the company to technically build its capacity. Welcome, Ajay. So when you're creating content using your email and you're sending out emails to people, whether it's your podcast, whether it is your book, whether it is your website, whether it is your landing page, these are very important things. Welcome, Sanjay. These are very important things to factor in because you're creating content for people who are looking for clear instructions, for clear direction, for clear responses. So when you think about emails, think about your subject line and your pre-header or your preview text. Those are very important sections for your email. You may have a great email, but if that subject line or that preview text is not a good place to be, that's going to be a problem for you to receive it. I don't know if you've ever heard about this, but if you have, great. If you haven't, I'm glad you're about to hear it. There's something called Google Postmaster, right? Go to postmaster.google.com and connect your mail exchange records, which is MX records, within your domain, your DNS, your domain name server, or your domain name system. And for compliance sake, you're able to have high deliverability because you're building this information to get more people to have a higher deliverability score. You're not just sending emails because you want to say something or because you want to sell something. It's because you want to express something in the most deliverable way, in the most effective way, in the most technically sound and savvy way possible. That's why I wanted to bring this today. And Ajay says, excellent information, knowledge session. I appreciate your efforts and dedication. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. And I get to learn more from you, from people, because when we work with clients, I learn more from my clients than they learn from me, because I'm helping you with SEO, I'm helping you with business, I'm helping you with visibility, intellectual property acquisition. Great. But I'm learning more about you because your business is thriving, and that's what I'm learning about. So it's very exciting to see where people are and what people are doing with their emails. My podcast is called We Don't Play, and I have over 610 episodes now actively, and this is year 7. I've been on Clubhouse. This is year 6. Yeah, I joined 2020, November 24th. So being on Clubhouse, connecting with people, whether it's one person or 10 people, we connect off Clubhouse. Sign up. The link is available at the top, and you can book a call with me. We can have a session. We can talk about connecting, partnerships, anything that you need, because I'm all in for building connections with people. And that's through email. That's through connections. I don't think anybody wants to have 1 million impressions and 0 contacts. I'd rather have 1 million contacts and 0 impressions than 1 million impressions and 0 contacts. Because I know that with my 1 million contacts, I can create more contacts within the contacts. And where there's contact, there's connection. So for you to have a high converting connection within your electronic mail communication server, your ESP, your electronic service provider, then we're looking at the technical setup of your website, the technical setup of your domain. Don't send out an email to your community at gmail.com, because that at Gmail is Google Mail. It's a Google product. It's a Google property. So you don't own at gmail.com. You own your personal email at gmail.com, but your business email is what you want people to see. So if your name is A, your name is a@a.com or a@yourdomain.com. So it's going to be your name or the name that you put within the naming convention on the prefix at yourdomain.com. That's what you're using to send out, because when you start sending out emails, you have to do something called an SPF. That is a sender policy framework. These are compliance, let me say it this way. These are non-negotiable compliant procedures that will be very important to think about. And Ajay, can you share your email? Yes, let me put my email in the chat. My email is favor@playinc.online. There we go. I just put it in the chat. Thank you so much, Ajay. I look forward to connecting with you. There's so much that I see with people. Welcome, Alex. And I love to help. I love to give insights about these things. It's because I want you to be on my podcast, talk about your show, talk about your story, talk about your business, talk about your story, and let people hear about you. And then when you now put it out there, let people connect with you. Because one thing I've noticed with emails is that people that send out emails, they don't really send out emails with the intention or with the mindset of knowing that this email that you just sent may not have a direct effect proportionally today. But because you've planted a seed, when you start getting emails, responses, inquiries, requests for proposals, whatever it is that's going to give you that moving needle, it's because of the planted seeds that you germinated over time within a scope. So if you send out 1 email or 2 emails, that's very good. I don't send out many emails because I love to give you loaded emails that you can use and come back to over time. What's the point if I overwhelm you with emails? Yes, information is powerful and attention is technically the new currency. And I also add retention is a balance. If you look at a balance sheet. So if we're looking at currency and balance, where do you strike the balance? So when you send out an email, a high converting email is not 5 times a day. You could send 5 emails a day, but you could send it to 5 segments a day. So if you have a website and people are signing up to your email list and you have 5 options because there are 5 preferences, then those 5 different preferences are going to give you 5 different sub-segments. So if I know the click-through rate is 2.3% here, 6.5% here, 13.9% there, and I know exactly what thresholds are, then I know how much in frequency I can be able to turn that 13% to a 26%, to a 52%, because you're able to know that the more you're giving people what they want, eventually you now get them to where they need to be. And that takes time and trust. That's why emails is very important when you think about deliverability. Ajay says, kindly words are like honey, sweet to the soul and healthy for the body. I like this verse. This shows your attitude and passion. Yes, I'm passionate about this. It's 10 p.m. I'm in Houston, Texas, Central Time. It's 10 p.m. and people are cold. People are feeling, sleepy. People are cozy. And I felt like before I do that myself, let me come here and dedicate this, because I've been doing this daily on Clubhouse this week. As of today is Saturday. So I've been in the marketing club and I've been here. Today is the 24th and I kicked off on the 14th. Yeah, so 10 days I've been technically here, and I've been giving information from Eventbrite marketing to regional businesses, international businesses, local businesses, national businesses. How does podcast SEO and monetization come into play, and do all these things and connect with you? I've sent out an email and you said now in Dubai time is 8 a.m. morning, 12 degrees, very cool weather and snowfall. Oh, it's snowing in Dubai. Oh, that's amazing. Wow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for that feedback. I love Dubai. I've been to Dubai 3 times with my family. Beautiful place. Love it. So thank you so much for being here. It's an international app, so I always love to, connect with people here. So when you think about your concept, your emails, your building, your listing, Welcome King, your goal is to build attention and to sustain retention. That's the whole idea of high converting emails. Build attention, sustain retention. If you can build attention, it means that you're building capacity. And building attention means that if I have your attention and you're paying attention to the information, then you can share that information with the next person who needs that same information to be heard. So a high converting email is where you're able to sustain it by building that capacity, right? With your subject line. Use keywords, use emojis, use numbers, use brackets, right? Brackets give you about 38% increase in click-through rate. Whether you use it in an email, if you use it on a podcast episode, if you use it as a title of your blog, if you use it wherever. Because when people are reading and they see brackets, those brackets, it's a way to soften the conversation. So if I'm writing to you and I'm typing, and then I put in brackets what I'm thinking before I continue typing, then it's like I'm putting you into my thoughts, and now I'm creating I can call it a softer network, because it was a hard sell or it was a cold response. Now it's turned into a warm feeling because I feel like I'm having a conversation with a friend. Welcome, Abdo. So you're creating that intention to let people know that you're not just trying to tell them, hey, buy this 10% off. That's great. That's perfect. More power to you. If I can solve your problem and I can show you where the problem is and show you where the solution is and draw the map from point A to B, and then you can see where the drop-off is, where the pickup is, and you're able to know exactly how to dedicate your time to match those two figures and scale it the way you want to as a business, that's a big return on your investment, time-wise, money-wise, energy-wise, because you have less time to think, because you have more time to apply or more time to implement. That's a big deal. Welcome, Prabhaka. Thanks for being here. So you have to think about it like that. You have to think about the urgency. If I put limited, if I put ends tomorrow, if I put on sale, if I put flash sale, people are going to see that and they'll be like, okay, this is important, because if I don't click on this email now, then I can get a high conversion. So your high converting emails is in the context of your delivery. So how you deliver is so important. You can have a terrible email with a perfect subject line and you will get a high score. But the problem is that's not going to last long, because the person that sees your email the first time, opens it, trusts you enough to click it, and now they don't get the value off of the information that you gave them from the beginning. You've dropped the trust score. So what happens? They end up reporting you as spam. That's one way. Or they could unsubscribe. And that is not a good thing for your business, because the more unsubscribes you get, the more emails you send, the more you're showing that you're more, I want to use a word for this. You're more, the word is diluted. You're more diluted in your discussion because you're not giving people concentrated information. You're not giving people information that they can actually take home, apply, and then reply to your email and say, I tried this, it worked. I did this, it worked. I experimented this and it worked. So you have to think about these things long term. Ajay says, Obasi, an interesting topic. Unable to listen to your session now. I have to leave for a business meeting. All the best in your business meeting. Thanks for your great session. I'll be a follower. Now signing off. God bless you. God bless you too. I will give you a follow. And yes, we'll stay in touch. I'll send you a message so we can be in touch. And hope you stay warm out there as well. And thank you so much for being here. Looking forward to connecting with you very soon. We'll have some virtual coffee and, get to connect. And also, if you're on LinkedIn, I'll also connect with you there as well. Thank you for being here. This is where you think about building capacity as a business so that you can grow your emails over time. So when you think about your subject lines, your emails, your responses, it's a great deal. So these are the things that you have to think about long term. So clear value proposition is focusing on the lines, right? It has to be scannable. You have to think about buttons, right? If you're putting out emails, your buttons have to be big, right? Don't put a button that is a small size button that people can't see. When people are receiving your email, you don't know what phone they're using. You don't know what tablet they're using. You don't know what computer they're using. You don't know what device they're using. So the best way you can do your part is by giving them your best. And your best is giving them the best available. So if it's a button that you're giving them, let the button be big. Not big to the point where it's in your face like that, but big enough for them to look at and say, this is legibly clickable. So when somebody can see that, they can click on it. And then another thing to think about is the color, right? High converting emails. Color is so important. You can Google the color wheel or Google colors and psychology or Google marketing and branding with colors. You're going to see a lot of information about colors. Think about that as a brand, as a business, because that's going to help your business long term, right? Your ESP is important, right? It's super important because when you start segmenting people's behaviors based on their opens, their clicks, their click-through rates, their demographics, their engagement levels, you start doing some A/B testing, you're focusing on your DKIM, you're focusing on your DMARC. These are technical setups that you have for your DNS records, right? Your DKIM is your domain keys identifier mail. So you're looking at your domain and you're asking yourself, Am I identifying with the people that I'm sending my emails to? Do I have a sender policy framework that is email search friendly? These are very important questions to ask, right? So when you're thinking about having a long-term high converting email, you have to think about creating trust. And that's by including testimonials, videos, case studies, tutorials, showing people, hey, this is what I talked about. Click this link and watch this video. It's 5 minutes long. Watch this video and tell me what you think. If you like this video, let's connect. The people who actually click on that, you will know that they are serious. But you can't send that email to everyone in your email list because you may get an unsubscriber because they didn't sign up for that. But if you've been talking about the same thing over and over again for the last 12 months, 24 months plus, now we're in a new year, and you can use the last 2 years at least to get information about what has happened in the last 2 years. You can use that as a blueprint to plan out your year and then use that data to now replicate it and do better this year. So a high converting email is only possible when you have activity in real time on a consistent basis. A low converting email is now the opposite, right? It's vague. You just say, hey, check this out, or click here, or subscribe now, or episode 2. People don't know what episode 2 is. They know what they're looking for, but they're not going to type it with episode 2. They might know that that episode title is with a 2 on it, but it's not going to give you that full response. So that's very important to think about this, right? Don't think about putting exclamation marks or punctuations that blasting emails that have no personalization. It's important to think about these things because when you have a high converting email, you're putting their name there. If you want to put their name there, great. That's a good way of doing it because when someone sees their name, they know that they've signed up and they've connected with that resource. That's a very important thing to think about, right? So when you think about your content, think about the structure. If you have large blocks of text in your emails, that's a red flag. That's a bad flag. In fact, don't send that email because you're dealing with sizes and size matters in every capacity, literally. So when you have a large block of text that is huge, that is above the limit, think about this email, right? Because when you're sending an email to someone, the email has a size. So if this email is 30 kilobytes, but because you have this font size 30 word, you've increased the capacity of this to 300 kilobytes. I'm just giving you an example. It will go up tremendously because if you keep writing with those words, you have a big email. Now that big email, if somebody opens that email and they see it, yes, it's big in writing, but it's just big for nothing because now no one can really read that through because it's a lot to read in between. Instead of having it in a very, I would say a very good way, like font size 20 is good for your headings. Font size 16 is good for your paragraphs. You can, of course, play with it. It's not a standard rule, but that's something you can do. So you're thinking about this long term to give people that benefit, right? If you're sending the same email to everyone, there's no segmentation, that's a problem. You can't do that because if you don't segment your emails when you send emails, then you're losing track of how people respond back to the emails that they receive. So think about those things long term and to help you a lot. If you ignore analytics, not reviewing open rates, click-through rates, spam complaints, you're not able to do those things, you're getting high bounce rates, you're getting spam rates, I can't even call it that way, you're not cleaning up your list. Those are things that's going to hurt you in the future, right? When you have a list, clean up your list. I always clean up my list after every email I send. I clean up that list. If I know that that list, I've sent out an email and I get bounces and I can do that, consistently, then that's going to be a big deal. Welcome, Ifani. So every time I send an email, I clean up my email list because you're going to get some data feedback. It's going to tell you how many people opened your email, how many people clicked through your email, right? Now, if you send the second email without cleaning up the last email, then you're just going to be, I'll call it, packing it up. Thank you, Fighting for the Fire. Appreciate that. So you're going to be doing that consistently. And at some point, you're in email 10 and you've not done any cleaning whatsoever. So you're complaining, welcome Mika, about your emails bouncing or getting low deliverability, yet you'd never checked these emails that keep bouncing, because there's a hard bounce, there's also a soft bounce. So if you start noticing that your emails are bouncing and they're not reaching those places, you're not compliant. You're not looking at your sender policy framework. You're not looking at your domain keys identifier mails. You're not looking at your testing. You're not looking at anything. You're not even segmenting to begin with. Then that's going to be a problem down the road, because now you're literally dealing with a big list, but it's also a big problem, right? So if you really think about it, you have to think about it in a different way. You know how they say more money, more problems? Right. More money, more problems. But I say more money, more problems, more solutions. Because for every problem, there's a solution. That's why you're in business, because you're providing a solution to a problem. It's just, it just makes sense. What's up, Ifeanyi? How you doing, man? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Favour. Can you hear me? Wonderful. That's great. I don't see the feedback rating on Clubhouse, but that's a really good feature. But yeah, this is actually a very timely, conversation you're having, because at this stage, I'm about to start my email marketing campaign, right? And actually, what you just said actually is really insightful, which is, building that feedback loop in terms of emails that I bounce. Of course, I'm looking at the reports, the initial emails that I've sent. I see some that are suppressed, some that are bounced. And in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, well, I probably need to do that. But hearing you say that just makes me even think even deeper. I should literally embed that in the workflows. So that's something I'm definitely going to be working on tonight and moving into tomorrow morning. But yeah, very important stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad that you're seeing it. And it's super important to think about it this way, because, a lot of people have emails and they send out emails. Welcome, Richard. Also, I see you as well. Form profile. I hope I said the name correctly. Please correct me if I said it wrong. It's like you're creating a sequence of connections with people. Because if you think about it, right, if you post a social media post, let's say you post something on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, you post it, you get 2 impressions, 20 impressions, 200 impressions, even 2,000 impressions. Let's even go there, right? That's great. But if you send out an email to 2,000 people who have received it, or even 20 people who have opened it, the impact of that happening over social media is huge. Because now this person has given you their time, and attention, which is currency that they cannot buy. So,
Email,
you know what I mean? Right?
Email. Bro, you have no idea. You have no idea how deep I am with this. I use an email service called Resend, and Resend caters towards developers, right? So I build my email templates with React. I don't like go on like MailChimp and try to build an email template or things like that. And then I have an API that can allow me to scale my email sending, literally scale it. Can literally send 10,000 emails right now. Just by writing code. I can send 50,000 emails right now just by writing code. And so if I have the emails in my database, and I can enrich that data, which is very important. You have to be able to enrich it. And like you said, collect feedback. Is the email even valid? The email you're about, is that a valid email address? Because that can affect your, your credibility, your domain, like your domain's credibility, if you understand. Like if you think you can just get your email and then spam to a whole bunch of people, it's going to affect your domain's credibility. And once all these big companies start to flag your domain, well, your main domain is ruined, right? So so people have to watch out for that too. So yeah, just want to say that.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Domain reputation is a big deal. It's like your name on the line. If your name is being dragged, you don't want that. You want to have your
You don't want that for sure, yeah.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
long-term perspective, and you're like, okay, if I'm going to send out an email to this person and they're receiving it and they're not unsubscribing, that says something, because that means they want to keep getting your emails. And because they're not saying anything back doesn't mean they're not saying anything at all. They're probably saying more that you're not hearing than what you think they could be saying. So you start looking at it from the long-term perspective of, okay, if I'm thinking about a lifetime customer that's going to listen to my emails, that's going to listen to my podcast, that's going to listen to my videos, that's going to listen to my information at whatever capacity it is, it now becomes a responsibility for you to now know that if these people are receiving your emails and they're connecting with you long term, then at some point, if you have segmented your emails well, then there's going to be a way for them to respond back, because segmented emails have a higher percentage in conversion than general emails.
Oh yeah, 100%, bro. 100%. And that's the difference between transactional emails and marketing emails. And like I said, bro, I'm so knee deep in this stuff, and it's taken me a while. It's taken me 6 months to sort of build this infrastructure. I built it all by myself from scratch, literally, an empty code base. But I wouldn't have the ability to sort of build like a unique workflow, a service. And I wanted to be able to control the process from the email all the way to the sign up for the website, by OTP stuff, because that's all email. I mean, most people's too off is through the email. So email is very sensitive. It's a very sensitive channel of communication. So to be able to control that, and then on top of that, control SMS, because I have, an SMS service. I have a phone service through Twilio, all connected to my database, my backend. So if I connect with you once, wherever I met you, wherever it was, from the website, wherever, like it's one record in my database. I can see your preferences. I can send out a text message right now. Hey, I'm just starting up a service, and just so I know, can you let me know what your communication preferences are? I can send that over text and email at the same time. And then they'll let me know. What that does for me is that I update your preferences. So I know this person has said they prefer to be texted. So I can send them marketing texts, and I have their consent. And like you said, I'm in business to solve problems. Very key, bro, key. That's so key. That is such a key thing to say. I'm in business to solve problems. And now that comes back to the marketing strategy. What problems am I reaching out to via email? Am I one of those people on LinkedIn that's trying to become friends with you just to sell you something? Well, I'm just straight to the point. Bro, hey, look, this is what I do. This is the problem I'm trying to solve for you. Are you interested or not? But if not, here's a whole bunch of marketing material for you to chew on and understand. But in the meantime, though, when you're ready to protect your family with life insurance, or to take care of your health with health insurance, and you want to find the best option that fits your needs, well, I'm here for you and your family. I'm here to take care of you, protect you, give you the umbrella you need, give you peace of mind, Favour. I'm here to give you peace of mind, Favour. That's what I'm here to do. But anyways, yeah.
Nah, I appreciate you, Ifeanyi. I appreciate you for your insight, because it's so important to think about this. Like, Think about this, guys. You know how deep emails are? Like when you go to school, you have to set up an email. When you go to work, you have to set up an email. When you sign up for social media, you have to set up an email. When you want to sign up to get some type of whatever freebie it is, you have to set up an email. When it's time to vote, when there's politics, when there's campaigns, when there's whatever it is that you're voting for, you're going to have to see emails. When it's Black Friday, when it's, Merry Christmas, you're going to see emails. So you're not really leaving your email. So when people say, I don't need email marketing or I don't need an email, you're technically saying, I don't need to protect my property, or I don't need my property to increase in value or property value in digital real estate, because your domain is literally every year. We're in 2026. So if you purchase your domain in 2025 or in 2005, then you're going to have a new yearly domain that's going to give you a higher credibility score. And that's where your domain authority comes in. That's where Google comes in, ChatGPT comes in. All these things we're talking about today. How do I rank on ChatGPT? Start off with your email. Start off with your conversations. If you don't send an email, that's a problem. We're already at the end, really, of January, close to the end of January. Have you sent an email to your community? Did you tell them Happy New Year? Or are you selling them products off the rip? So it's up to you to decide how you're going to communicate with them. I always give this formula: give 9 times and ask once. The more you give, the more you receive. It's a biblical principle. It's a worldly principle. It's a human possible factor that you can also try yourself and see the result from it. People know about these things. So if you give and you keep giving, you receive. All the billionaires we know about, millionaires, you think about what they do, they give. They give to charity, they give to foundations, they give to homes, they give to people, they give to humanity. Because all the money and all the stuff you're making is great, but if you're not giving it to people, if you're not giving it back, then of whose service are you rendering? You have to be a self-service able person to be able to do these things at a high capacity and do it with willingness to receive more than you give, but not with the intention of giving to receive, because that's bait. You want to give with the selfless service of giving information, and then you tell them, hey, this is what I do. Like Ifeanyi said, I do this. If y'all want to work with me, great. You can click the link above. You can get the emails. You can listen to We Don't Play podcast show. You can listen to it and get information that you need. But when you now want to take action and you want to put the dots together, that's where strategy comes in. That's where consulting comes in. That's where people come in to play. So it's very important to think about these things and ask yourself, where do you want to be today and where do you want to plan out for tomorrow? Welcome, Shanette. Also, good to see you as well. She's special. Thank you for being here. There's so many things that you have to think about as a business owner. If you want to think about high converting emails, even the platform of choice is important too. I won't go too deep into that today, but when you think about your emails, think about where you're sending emails. Also, keep in mind, when you send out, this is like a little trick. I won't even call it a trick. It's a tactic. And if you get this and it works for you and it's happening, that's a good thing. If you have an email that you send out to people, right? This is so underrated, but it's highly effective. If you have an email, of course, it's a workspace email that you're sending out to people, whether it's a Google Mail, an Apple Mail, an Outlook Mail, right? You're sending out your emails to people. Now, if you're sending out your emails and broadcasting it to people who have subscribed to your ESP, right? Or subscribed to your CRM or subscribed to your ecosystem at large, when you start noticing that within your email list, you're sending out emails to recipients that also have work email addresses, professional email addresses, and not just at Gmail or at AOL or at Yahoo, that's great. Right? They have those things and it's totally fine. But when you start having a mix or like I can say a portfolio. If you think about your portfolio, whether it's credit, whether it's crypto, whether it's real estate, whatever portfolio that you have, and you think about how you put your buckets, it's the same thing that applies to what I've described right now. So when you think about emails that are coming to you, and you're getting emails that are at Gmail, you're getting at Yahoo's, you're getting at AOL's, you're getting at Outlooks, but you're also getting at domains.com, at websites.com that you're sending to, you're creating an ecosystem that's also putting you within a height signal. You may not see what's going on the back end, but what's happening is that you're creating I'll call it a powerhouse, because you're using something called horsepower within your capacity to send out emails to all these IP addresses. Because whenever you hit send and you publish to all these platforms, all of them are getting responses to your email. Some people will get it in their primary inbox. Some will get it in their promotion. Some will get it in their updates. Some may even get it in their spam, right? And that's depending on how you're able to do it. So when you tell people, hey, PS, move this email to your primary inbox manually and save it so that next time you get it, that's a very simple task for someone to do. And when someone does that in less than 5 seconds, now the next time you send an email, you start getting 20% open rate, 20% click rate. It's possible. It's so possible. It just depends on how you're able to clean it up. So the more you're able to clean up your list and be more specific with your targeting, your subject lines are on point. You think about syllables and don't think about words. How many syllables is this subject line? Then it's going to help somebody else to process it, because if my subject line is 10 syllables and yours is 2, then you're going to have a higher open rate than me, because I'm spending more time to process 10 syllables and talk about it or think through it to click on it, because I'm not going to click on something I'm not processed. But if I've processed 2 syllables and now I'm about to click on it, I have a higher response rate. Some people read fast, some people read slow, so you don't know who's reading. But all you know is that what you're giving them is information they're going to process. So think about those people. Don't think about yourself. Don't be selfish. Let them know that, hey, I care about you well enough to the point where I'm going to give you concise information that you won't have to worry about going this over and over again. So by the time you do that and you build that score, you build that in itself is PR. That in itself is branding, because people know that you are very specific with your information, you're meticulous with your articulation, and you're very direct with your approach. It just makes it easier for someone to trust you long term. So I wanted to just share the difference between high converting emails versus low converting emails. And if you're on either side, figure out what works best for you, but also think about these platforms and think about compliance so that you're not missing out on any of these things as well. So Ifan, you have any questions, anything you'd like to say, last thoughts, and anything you'd like to let people know before we go? And if you guys are in the chat, please put it in the chat, and I'd love to see your comments too. So I'll pass it to you, Ifani. Efficiency, Shanette says that's what's up. I'll come to that.
Oh no, just working in the background.
Awesome. Shanette says efficiency. Thank you. Tell me more about efficiency. What's behind that? I'd love to hear more about that before we go. And if you're listening to this, I'm glad that you're here. And I know that you clicked on this because you wanted to learn about high converting emails versus low converting emails. I've said a lot in a little time. So please rewind, please listen, please understand, and please take action. Because all information with no action is, I don't even know, you can fill in the blank. Because I want you to know that how you're able to process this information and do it well is very important, because the more you're able to understand what's going underneath the surface, it's going to be easier for you to understand what's happening on the surface. It's just a better way. It's like driving. If you know what's going on underneath your car, you can know how fast you can drive because you know the capacity that you have within it. So it's a lot. And Shanette says the skill of saying a lot in a little. That is true. Welcome, Kara. Long time. It's definitely the skill, because that skill is something that if somebody's able to understand and read, it's faster. when you get an email and somebody's giving you information and you've been sending out an email over and over again, you're also training them in a way. You're nurturing them in a way. If I keep feeding you apples, the day I give you grapes, you'll be like, this is not an apple. So what I'm really saying is, I'll say this is an analogy that you could use, right? The best way to put this is, if you keep sending out an email to someone and you keep saying, click here, click here, click here, giving them the same signature over and over again, but you're doing it in a way that is tasty, right? You're giving them green apples. You're giving them, I think there's also yellow apples. There's red apples. It's still an apple, but it's not the same apple you had on Monday, because it's a fresh apple that you had on Saturday. So you have to give people what they're looking for, and also consider the time. Because if you don't read the analytics and you don't read how much time people spend on your emails, it's going to be hard. If you know that people are reading your emails at 5 a.m. in the morning and you send an email at 5 p.m. in the evening, how are you going to measure those 12 hours if you're not sending out the right emails? Because you're kind of getting skewed data in a way. Because you should be sending it at 5 when you know that most of them are up at 5. If 60% of your audience is up at a certain time and you know that this is the time that they're most up, or mostly within the last 7 days, this is the time that they're spending, because this is the week that they have less to do, because maybe it's still the beginning of the year and they're not so busy, that's when you're able to connect with them. So high converting emails is not just sales. It's connections, it's timing, it's efficiency, and it's smart targeting. It's segmenting. It's putting things in practice that allows you to know, okay, this is what we need to do. Let's make this decision and let's take out this information in a way that someone can get it back and feel like, okay, this person actually gets me because they've been seeing me come in here every day or every other week to learn about something specific. So it's very important to think about that too as well. Shanette says, when the subject line has more than 3-4 words, it comes off junior. You see? I love that. That's a very specific way you put it off as junior. I love how you said that. Because when you're thinking about content, you want to let people know, how do you let them see it, right? If I give you 20 characters with spaces and that's the subject line, and then the preview text may be longer than the subject line, I'm giving you more time to read below the surface, which is giving you more context, which will allow you to click on the title. So there's so many ways you can go around it. There are really no rules. For me, I love testing, A/B testing, because you just don't know what's going to work. You just don't know. Like, you can put your investment in this or that, and you might think this may work. You just don't know. You might create 10 episodes, and 2 out of 10 are the ones that are getting you 80% of the traffic. So it's really dependent on how you're able to really know what people are looking for and deliver, considering their time and considering their efforts. So there are a lot of things you can cover, but just to make sure that you're able to understand today's topic, if you want to have high converting emails and high converting contacts and high converting conversations, then focus on the intentionality of giving people what they want. That's in the subject line, that's in your title, that's in your keywords, that's in your research, that's in your delivery, and then give them what they need. Give them a video, give them a tutorial, give them a case study, give them a workbook, give them a quiz, give them something to do. That way they feel like, okay, this person is helping me understand. Do a poll. That's how you're able to know. I just sent an email early this week because I said, here are all the episodes that we'll be working on this month so far, about 7 episodes. So that's technically roughly about 7 hours. So somebody can do 7 hours if they're driving from one place to the other and they have a 1-hour drive and they do that 7 times in a week. That's a whole cover. So it's not about who's getting to the finish line first. It's who's understanding this the most and how is this being applied to in the best way possible. So you're creating content and you're giving people information they can see, they can hear, they can respond to, and they can learn from you too. So think about your emails and think about how you're able to take it from point A to B, so that when you're creating content for them, It's not just about what they're seeing and what they're clicking on, it's how they're responding back to it. So look at this from a big lens and also ask yourself, the people that are receiving these emails, are they receiving it in a good way? And if they're receiving it, how are they going to say it? Or how are they going to receive it better than the way they were perceiving to receive it, right? I sent a poll not too long ago this week, and I asked people in our community, what's your go-to search engine? Because I wanted to know. How am I going to know if I don't ask? I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, everybody loves ChatGPT. How do I know that? It's not for me to know what you like. It's for you to tell me what you like so I can know better on how to respond. Because I might think that everybody loves ChatGPT, but somebody might like Gemini. Someone might like Grok. Someone might like DeepSeek. Someone might like Kimi. Someone might like... There are so many others out there, right? Perplexity, Cloud, there, and the list goes on and on and on. So everyone is choosing their own favorite, right? Before it was just Google or maybe DuckDuckGo or another search engine that you can fill in the blank with. But at the end of the day, the goal is to make sure that you're still within that capacity. Not that they're not consistent or important, but they have to also make sense. So I asked the poll and I said, hey, what are your options? What's your go-to search engine? And I was surprised that I think it was 2 or 3 that were tie. Google and Perplexity was tie. And I was like, whoa, okay. I thought ChatGPT would be at the top. So I knew that, okay, people like Perplexity, then that's telling me that they like Microsoft. So I'm putting the dots together. I'm not just asking a blank question or a blanket question. I'm looking beyond the tech. I want to make sure that if that's the way it's going, then I won't be surprised if you're using Outlook Mail or if your email is within an Outlook setup, because that's what you're using with Microsoft. That means you might be using Microsoft Teams. So you see how it keeps going and going and going. So you keep unfolding it like an onion. You just keep unwrapping it. You keep, unpacking it. And before you know it, you're like, wow, there's a lot that meets the eye, but you didn't really see it because it wasn't in surface. It wasn't in view. It was kind of in your peripheral, but it didn't show up until you were able to show for it or ask the right questions. Even when you have relationships with people, when you ask the right questions, you get the right responses. If you ask the wrong questions, you're going to build the wrong relationships because you're building it off the wrong foundation. So it's very important to think about this too. Jeanette says, people like checklists. If someone can open an email and easily, quickly read the email and respond quickly, it's similar to the feeling of checking off a checklist. That's true. Thank you for that. Appreciate that feedback. It's so important. It's listicles. And that's even where AI is going to, right? When you have an article and you have listicles in them, you have bullet points. These are things people can read through quickly. People don't read. Let me just say that. People skim. People skim information. They don't read. They skim. So when you go to Times Square and you're just reading all these big block letters and all this pointing at you, people are skimming. So they're able to see the information, process it mentally, and then take that information and run with it. So if you're looking at your emails, you're looking at your content, and you want this thing to go, then your goal should be to allow someone to see it, believe it, access it, process it, take action, and take the next step. So it's very important to think about that. Thank you, Jeanette, for that. That was very insightful. And I hope you are taking information and learning like this, because try it out for yourselves and see. Do an email and do it in a full prose format, and then do another one in a bullet format. And then in the email, put in brackets in the subject line, this is maybe a story. And then in another email, you can put checklist, or you can put, guideline, or you can put whatever you want to put there. Eventually, you realize that when people start opening those emails, you start realizing what people want. And then that way, when you know what they want, you now give them what they need over time. So it's very important to think about these things and don't just ignore them. So appreciate you, Ray, Dan, Vincent, and Jeanette for being here, and everyone as well that has been listening in. And Rachel and Rochelle, actually, that was a really nice picture. Hope you're good, and I hope you've learned something good, and I hope you've been able to understand how your business can run in 2026 with email marketing. If you do email marketing right, it's going to help you the long way. I'm going to talk about the 4 ways to acquire emails. That's going to be my next topic. I talked about this briefly, but I'm going to talk about it comprehensively, possibly tomorrow or Monday. We're going to see. Welcome, Laura. We're definitely going to see. But I want to talk about 4 ways you can acquire emails. 4 ways. And these 4 ways are all possible. Think about it like a quadrant, right? And if you have it from, or even like a stream, or I would say like north, south, east, west, right? And if you're getting it from all different capacities, all different angles, you're going to be good. It's very possible. So I'll talk about that. But for now, please take this information, listen to this, understand the difference between a high converting email and a low converting email. What makes the difference between the two? So if you do more high converting emails and you let more people hear about you, then you're definitely going to be in great shape. And before you know it, people will start responding back to you. So think about your emails and think about the sequences. If you want to know how many emails to send, anywhere between 1 to 5 emails in a month is good, because you're technically doing it once a week or once every other week. And if you're going into segmenting, you can also do that differently. There's a difference between scheduled emails and triggered emails, or rather automated emails, if that's how you want to put it. But you want to make sure that they're all done in a very specific manner and they're not just done haphazardly. So there's a trick to the trade, quote unquote, but at the end of the day, you have to try it out for yourself. Testing is the best way to find the results. If I test it out and it works, great. But if I don't test it out, how will I know? So it's very important to look at these things. And I hope this has been able to help you gain information. So until we meet again, God bless you. Have a wonderful evening. Stay warm wherever you are. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care. Shanette, God bless you all. And I'll see you guys in the next room. If you have reached this point of the episode, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show. I hope this has helped you, given you some insight, because every time I come on here, or anytime I bring somebody on here, a guest, a speaker, anyone that is of relevance to you listening is always going to give you educational value, definitely entertainment value, and most importantly, empowerment value. So thank you for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show every day. And if you want to reach out to me, you know where to find me. Click the links in the description, or go to info@playinc.online, info@playinc.online, and book a call. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk SEO. Let's talk marketing. Let's talk business. Let's talk scaling. And I look forward to meeting you and learning more about you and your business. Till we meet in the next episode, have a blessed evening. Have a blessed day, night, wherever you are in the world. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye for now. And don't forget, Jesus loves you.